Hey everyone, thanks for coming back to another video. This video is going to provide a ton of value and I'm super excited to get into it. So without further ado, let's jump in. As you can see by the title of the video, trading is a mental marathon. And I thought this was perfect because I've been reflecting a lot lately on just how difficult this craft is to learn, especially the first couple years when you're just getting started. Drop a like on this video if you're within your first couple years. It is honestly the hardest part. And I'm being honest with that. It gets easier and easier. And one thing that gets a lot easier is making mistakes. And when you're at the beginning of your journey, it's so hard to keep going. And I think this is why most people quit. They get into trading wanting to make money really quick, right? They see me on social media, they see other traders post profits on social media, and they want that instant gratification, right? They want it now. And unfortunately, that's not how this game works. It's going to take years. And yeah, there's some anomalies who find success very, very quick, but for the most of us, it's going to take us a couple years. And when you are in it to get rich quick and you lose money at the very beginning, you're just going to, tap out and move on to the next thing. And it can become extremely, extremely difficult to keep going. That's why I find it so important to have good people around you that you can talk to, great people that you can surround yourself with that make this journey a lot easier. I'm lucky now. I have a great network of people around me. And at the very beginning, I kept it kind of hush. I kept it quiet because when I did talk about trading with anyone, they kind of called it a scam or they talked down on it. And it's honestly the people closest to you that kind of make the biggest impact when they talk down on it, right? Like, for example, my parents didn't really believe in it. They love it now and they understand it now. But you have to think from a parent's POV, you're leaving essentially the 9-to-5 rat race to go off on your own and create bigger and better things that is completely different than, the norm when they grew up, right? Like I had a job at the bank, a really nice bank, and I just didn't see my future there at all. And when I told them that I was leaving, I actually waited a bit to tell them. They freaked out a bit, but now obviously looking back, they're super grateful that I made this decision, and I'm super grateful that I made this decision. But it's what I mean by trading is a mental marathon. I mean it in every way possible. The career itself, so learning, getting consistent, getting your butt beat at the very beginning over and over and over and over again, that's a mental marathon. The fact that not many people are going to believe in you is a mental marathon, and you just have to kind of keep going. Like a marathon, you're not trying to sprint right away. You have to keep that pace, and I haven't ran a marathon, but I'm judging this off of my friends who have. They say it is so grueling, and it only gets you reach points that you can't imagine getting through. So you reach points throughout the race, throughout life, where situations happen to you and you are so fatigued and you just can't imagine taking another step, but you do it again. You take that step, and then you find your second win, and then next thing you know, there you go. Shout out Matt Concordia, my boy. He explained the marathon to me last year, and I thought this would be a perfect kind of analogy for the video. It's amazing what can happen when you just kind of stick with things, and you get beat down. And I'm going to tell you a little story right now about how tough it got for me in my journey, and hopefully you can relate as well. So when I was first learning trading and I started taking it serious, I had to wake up for London session because I was a New York session trader and I wasn't able to trade New York because I was working at the bank. So I would wake up for London session at like 2, 3 a.m. And throughout this process, I was getting no sleep and I was losing. I was losing a lot of trades, and unfortunately I was losing money. I was a student at the time as well. So I was losing money that I couldn't afford to lose, if that makes sense. And it was terrible. And I didn't want to share it with anyone. And I kept it to myself. And I kept losing. And I was putting in so much work and so much work and so much work and just losing and falling down and getting no sleep. And honestly ran myself into the ground. It got to a point where it was very, very, very dark for me. Like truly, looking back at it, it was probably one of the toughest 2 months of my life. And it's honestly kind of a blur. I ran myself into such exhaustion that I literally don't even remember those periods of my life. Like I'm not even exaggerating whatsoever. It's a complete blur. And the person I was during that period of time is a complete blur to me too, because I just wasn't really a good person because I was so stressed and keeping things to myself and not talking about my issues or my problems, and because I didn't think anyone would understand because I didn't have anyone else trading at the time with me at all, right? So it was just me, and it got very, very, very dark. Looking back, I truly wish I saw a therapist or something, someone who didn't know anything about the trading space and could just sit there and listen to me talk and rant about the issues going on and just relieve some of that stress, because sometimes all we need to do is just talk to someone. And sometimes the toughest battles that we face are alone. But it honestly doesn't have to be that way. Whether you're dealing with stress, depression, or honestly any challenge in life, it doesn't even have to be trading. Talking to a professional can be massive and honestly make a world of a difference, because you're getting those feelings out instead of keeping them in. Honestly, that's where BetterHelp comes in, the sponsor of today's video. BetterHelp connects you with a licensed therapist who is licensed to give you the best possible advice that's super helpful and completely unbiased. Like I said, someone doesn't have to know anything about trading, can just sit there and listen to you speak about your problem. First, you go to their site and answer a couple questions, and then BetterHelp will match you with a trained professional best suited fit for you to help you with your struggles that have helped people just like you. You can do it all from your phone, tablet, doesn't matter, whatever is the most convenient for you. It's honestly the easiest possible way to talk to a therapist. Let BetterHelp connect you to a therapist that will help you, all from the comfort of your own home, car, doesn't matter where you are in the world. Visit betterhelp.com/MattGray. You can enjoy a special discount for your very first month. Let's get back to the video. It honestly got very, very dark for me, and I noticed a significant difference in my trading performance when I started talking to someone, and I wish I had a therapist, because when I was talking about it with my fiance at the time, it was very, very tough, but it gets better. And that's what I mean by mental marathon. It gets extremely tough at times, but you can get through it. You can get through it. And I promise you, it's the most rewarding thing you can ever do. The late nights, the early mornings, the no sleep, it honestly all becomes worth it. And if I could go back in time, I wouldn't change a thing. But my question to you is, if you're sitting there right now, have you been through this? What chapter of your life are you in right now on this trading journey? Are you in chapter 1, 2, where it's very, very hard, tons of chart time, losing? Are you in chapter 3, where you're starting to find more success? What you're doing is starting to work? Or are you in the chapter 4 or 5, the consistent profitable trader chapter, where new struggles come, new levels, new devils? I heard someone say that, and I think it's the truest thing, because here's an analogy that I like to share with some of my members, okay? In trading, when you first start out, you're gonna make a ton of mistakes. And as you go along your journey, you're gonna make less and less and less. You never make no mistakes, but they're just gonna be less frequent because you've learned from the previous ones, right? So as a trader, the mistakes that I make now involve greed and fear. So those are two big ones for me. It's funny, me and my buddy Ara were having a big chat about this the other day. One of his biggest issues is greed. One of my biggest issues sometimes is fear. The issue I have with fear is sometimes sizing up, okay? So sizing up on positions, my A+ setups, like to 2-3%, right? Sometimes I have some setups that I really want to learn to size up on, and I just don't. So that's something that I personally want to work on, is sizing up on some of those A+ setups, because some of the top people in the space that I've been following for a bit have been talking about how, once you gain the confidence and you get to a point in your journey, the 1%, 2%, and you start risking 3%, 4% sometimes on your A+ setups, you can see significant returns. Now, I'm not there in my journey yet where that's something I personally struggle with. I'm like hardwired right now to risk 1-2% of my account max. So that's something I personally want to work on. But that's kind of the new thing that I'm dealing with is the fear aspect of maybe losing more to potentially gain more, right? And that's just, I don't know what it is. I'm a very safe trader in the sense that my risk management is locked in. Every single thing is locked in, but I'm going through this right now where I want to reach a next step and, risk a little bit more on certain setups, and I struggle to. And that's something that I will get better with, but better with time. But at the same time, I'm grateful for everything else that I have in my journey right now. I'm grateful for how my risk management is. I'm grateful for everything else. So the point that I'm trying to make is each level you get to, there's going to be new devils and you're going to have to go through new things. But this is honestly why I love trading so much. I love it because of how difficult it is. It's like a difficult puzzle piece that not many people can put together. I think they say 90% of traders fail, which 10% success rate is pretty high. And within that 90% that fail, think about the amount of people that try once and that's it and just give up. So I would say if you're one of the people who sit there every single day and do what you need to do, and you work and you stay in the game long enough, I find it impossible that you won't succeed, truly, because you have what it takes. You show up every single day and you're giving it that long-term vision. That long-term vision is what trading needs, and it's the only way you are going to succeed. So Trading is a mental marathon. When you're going through these tough times, even if you're not a beginner, even if you're someone who's maybe an introvert and you don't have many people around you, talk to someone, whether it be a therapist, whether it be writing in your journal. There's things that you can do to alleviate some of that stress. And it doesn't have to get as dark as I got, right? It doesn't have to. But I've talked to many other trader friends as well who have had very, very dark seasons in their life, and it was because of a similar thing. They didn't want to share their struggles with anyone, right? And especially men. Men go through a very, very tough time when it comes to talking about mental health or talking about struggles that they're going through, right? It's not that it's frowned upon, but it's just something that we were really never taught growing up or anything like that. And yeah, I guess it kind of is against the stigma of, being a tough guy. But at the same time, when you think about it from a performance perspective, you're only going to get better if your mental's good, right? And if it's clogged and stressed out, your decision-making on the charts isn't going to be good. Then you're going to do worse. And then your decision-making off the charts isn't going to be good because you're going to be all stressed and stressed out, right? So that's my advice for you guys today. I hope you guys enjoyed this little sit-down rant video. It's crazy. I'm grateful that I was able to partner with BetterHelp today because this was honestly the perfect video for me to do that. And make sure you guys do check that out. Check out the discount. I promise you it's worth it. And it's just nice to talk to someone that's not your parents, that's not your fiance, that's not some of your best friends, someone that doesn't know you and can just have that, outside view looking in that's there to help. So what do I say at the end of every single video, guys? Let's be 1% better every single day. I appreciate you all, and I'll see you in the next one.